Okay.
Okay. Stuart, just how frustrating was that performance today?
I think it's a frustrating outcome. I think for large periods of that game we showed what we were about. We stood firm in defence. We really challenged them. And in attack, when we had ball, we probably just lacked that clinical edge at times. But the big thing we've kind of talked about in the change rooms after the game is not being in a position to be chasing the game. We believe we're a lot better than that, and unfortunately we've had to chase 24 points, which isn't ideal.
Did it come down to, you talked about compounding errors in the Wales game, did it come down to that again today?
Maybe a little bit at times, but I think it's difficult to take at the minute, and the boys are really disappointed with the final outcome. The frustrating thing for myself and the rest of the boys is we know we're a lot better than that, a lot better than what we showed at times. And it hurts. Like this one really hurts, like every other defeat, but it's just frustrating. It's really frustrating, but look, it's what's happened has happened. We can't change it. We're going to have to stick together, pick ourselves back up, because it's a 6-day turnaround, and another chance to represent Scotland.
That's 2 home games you've lost by the narrowest of margins. Do you feel, you mentioned frustration, do you feel that's a missed opportunity, given that if you'd won those 2 games, obviously you would still be in the hunt for the championship?
I think that the thing that we've talked about is not being in a position to chase games, be in control from the very get-go, and we know how good we can be in attack, we know how good we can be in defence, but it has to happen from the very first whistle. And at times, especially in the first 20 minutes, we got on the wrong side of the referee. We didn't help ourselves. But look, it's pointless sitting here and concentrating on too much of what's happened. We're going to have to take on our learnings on board really quickly, and get back to what we do best. This time next week, I think for us, now it's a challenge because it's a 6-day turnaround. There's some battered and bruised bodies. We'll have to recover quick, take our learnings on board, and make sure we're in the best place possible come next Saturday.
And you mentioned learnings. What positives can you take from that for the Italy game, and what things might you need to change to have a more positive outcome next week?
I think the thing for us is just, we know fine well what we're about. We know we can stand firm in defence and challenge teams. We know that we can have that clinical edge in attack and finish off tries and score points and get us into the right areas of the field. It's just making sure we combine it from the very get-go. I'd love next week to be in a position that we're not chasing a game, because we've showed we can. But we want to be in a position that we're comfortable, we're in control of everything, and really, having the foot in the throat from the very beginning. And that's a challenge that I know the boys are more than capable of doing. The annoying thing for us now is that we have to wait till next week to perform.
Okay, thanks very much.
Any more questions for Stuart?
Lovely.
Okay, thank you. Coach Gregor Townsend with us now, please.
Hi Gregor. 2 home defeats in a row, how frustrating is that, particularly given the great start that you made to this tournament?
Yeah, look. I think 2 defeats in a row. That's what we're viewing it as. It's home and away doesn't really exist anymore. I think getting the home crowd would have helped in the last two games, because they've been very close contests. But it's the defeats that are disappointing, and obviously what constitutes the defeat. So yeah, that's a frustrating thing, that we've not been able to build on that excellent performance against England and back that up with 1, if not 2 victories.
It was a lot of errors in that performance, kind of after having compounded kind of with ill discipline against Wales. How did you go about setting that right? Are these mental errors, or is this something that can be coached off on the training field?
Well, I think the errors are largely around the set piece and the contact, and there's 2 teams that are involved in that. So the pressure Ireland put on our line out, gave them a lot of ball throughout the game and stopped us getting a platform to build off. And then a few contact areas. Again, their jackal threat was excellent today. Thought we did improve in that area as we went through the second half, and we showed what we can do when we have ball. We scored 3 tries, and I think we only had two lineouts to play off. So it's doubly frustrating. If you were getting nowhere with the ball you had, then you could say, right, well, it's not our day. We're not playing well enough to win. But we did show when we did get ball that we got right back into the game and scored tries and put pressure on Ireland. But we have to be better in all aspects. But after today's game, I think the line-out, we know we're better than that. We're 100% down at England, but today Ireland came up on top.
You talked, after the game about having to show Scotland's true face again. Does that mean returning to the levels that you showed at Twickenham?
Yeah, no, that Twickenham set the bar, and for 33 minutes against Wales the following week, we played as well as Twickenham. In some aspects played better, but since then we've not been consistent over the 80-minute period against Wales and today. And every game's different. You've got a different opposition, the referee has a different interpretation, so you've got to adapt. And as much as I'm so down about the loss today, and I know our players are, I know our supporters are too, there is still a lot to be proud of this team. That's two games in a row now that they've came back and created an opportunity to at least draw the game with a few minutes remaining. And this team has had to be adaptable right throughout the season. We had a scrum half playing a back row, we had a back row playing a second row, we had a full back playing a standoff, and we created, I think we scored 1 try during that period, maybe the second one as well. So it shows what we can do when we get things right, but we're just going to make sure we do that more often.
Stuart Hogg was saying that you reckon it wasn't so much the game plan that was wrong, it was more to do with ill discipline and the mistakes creeping in. Well, was it your game plan to be so open, or was it just the way the game panned out?
Yeah, we definitely wanted to move Ireland around. We just didn't get the set piece play or set piece ball to threaten them with our plays, whether it was 1 or 2 phase plays. So we had to rely on getting counter attack ball or getting ball from restarts or getting ball from turnovers. But we certainly felt with the players we had and we have in our squad that we could move them into those wide channels. And that brings its risks out sometimes. It brings rewards too, but we feel that's the right strategy for not only today but for us moving forward.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You're going to sort of take that into the Italy game. What positives can you take from today into that game, and specifically about players? Is there anybody doubtful for that game as a result today?
Yeah, we'll look to get our players on ball, like we aim to do before every game. But there's a number of areas we have to improve for Italy. So we'll be doing a lot of work on our contact, and I imagine if the forwards will be working on their line-out this week. Our line-out defence was good today. It was strong. Our maul defence was strong, so that was a positive. In terms of players' availability, it is quite early to tell, but Finn was removed from play with a concussion, so it's unlikely he'll feature in 68's time. And Scott Cummings, we fear he might have a fracture in his hand, so if that's the case, he won't be involved next week. Johnny Gray had a shoulder issue, so we'll wait and see how he is. So that's 3 players. I imagine there'll be a few more that turn up at training on Tuesday sore, and we'll just have to see where we are then.
Okay, thanks very much.
Gregor, should the second try for the try was it Tad Burns' try, should that be referred to the TMO?
You guys probably have a better picture than me. or people at home might have a better picture on TV replays. The one replay I saw, I didn't think he grounded it to begin with, but whether that was the case on other replays, I don't know. Obviously, Romain Poit thought that he'd seen the ball grounded, similar to Hamish Watson's. But obviously, Hamish Watson's was referred to TMO.
Gregor, I couldn't hear half of what you were saying earlier on, but how frustrating is it that you draw level and then you blow it in such a fashion?
That's sport, Rob. You either put it down to really good play by the opposition, who put pressure on Ali's kick like we'd done on their nines throughout the game, or we look at ourselves and how could we have done that better? Could we have done a different kicking option? Could we have protected Ali better? But credit to them for getting that opportunity. We'd worked hard to get back to 24 all, but they deserved their win given that they'd led most of the game.
Here's Gregor. Thank you.
Gregor, just with a view to next week, you obviously said it depends on likely to make it. Obviously, as I'm sure you'll be aware, Nathan Chamberlain and Ross Thompson have both had excellent games for Glasgow and Edinburgh over the past 48 hours. Is there any likelihood that either of them could be called up at all?
Well, we'll have to see. We have Jacob van der Vaalt in our squad. Stuart Hogg played well at 10 today. James Lang's played 10 at his club a few times this season. And Adam Hastings will be back, not for next week, but the week after. So there's players within our squad that have got international experience that would look to first.
Okay, last question for Gregor at all? Thank you, everybody. Everyone go on to mute, please, if you're not.
I did hear your question, Alistair. I was just recovering from the feedback there. Pretty quickly, Alistair. Sport moves on very fast. We got an opportunity next week to get back on in our game. Our line-out had the best winning percentage going into today's game, so it's not a common theme throughout our performances. So obviously it's dropped a fair bit today, and we'll be working to make sure that we not only guarantee ball, but we're getting good ball to play off.
Thanks very much, everybody.